Look, as you've probably noticed, utes are all the go these days. Toyota's Hilux is actually the best-selling car in Australia across all different types of cars. Amongst four-wheel drives, utes also dominate. In the top 10, there's 8 utes and only 2 wagons. What we've got here is the 2 latest variations on the ute market. This is a Series 2 Navara. What Nissan have done have addressed the rear suspension. This has got a coil spring rear suspension. They've done a lot of changes there. They've changed the steering. They've done some other detailed changes to address some criticisms directed at this car originally. This Isuzu D-Max has been changed mainly to keep up with the latest Euro 5 emission regulations, which means a DPF filter, but it also means a bit more torque at low revs. The torque's gone from 380 to 430 Newton metres. Power stays the same at 130 kilowatts. It also gains a 6-speed automatic over the 5-speed. So what we're going to do is take them out, give them a run together and see how they go. We're driving in the D-Max here. The big thing that's changed in this car is mainly for Euro 5 compliance. Now, you probably think, well, that's bad news because we don't like all these emission stuff and government regulations, what have you, but the fact is it's made it a better engine. It's quieter and more refined than before, and more importantly, it's got more torque than before. 430 Newton metres as against 380. Now, what that translates to is more power at sort of normal driving speeds. I mean, pedal to the metal, it's the same, 130 kilowatts, which is reasonable without being fantastic. But just the general flexibility of the car and give and take driving is better with that extra torque. And what sort of added on top of that and made it particularly good is this new 6-speed gearbox. I mean, it's a smarter gearbox than the 5-speed, especially on down change. It will auto down change on downhills, and it will hold gears on uphills. It doesn't shuffle around as much as the 5-speeder. I mean, shift quality is probably not much better, but just the way it picks gears makes it a sort of better driver, give and take conditions. The rest of what we got is what you've always have known and liked about the D-Max. I mean, it's a reasonably spacious cabin. The suspension's well calibrated. The thing sort of handles and rides pretty well. And most importantly, this engine, even though it's been revised for Euro 5, is a design that's been around for quite a number of years now. It's well proven. Isuzu know how to make an engine that will last. It's a good solid car. You know, if you want something for the money that's reliable, robust, pretty hard to go past this thing. It's why it's becoming increasingly popular. I mean, as I said, it's performance-wise, it's okay without being fantastic. It's probably not the most exciting thing on the road, but certainly as being a good, reliable, down-to-earth, fair income truck, it's a good thing. Alright, we're driving the Series 2 Navara here. This car's quite unusual in the class because it's got coil spring rear suspension. It's still got a live axle, it's like all the cars in the class, but not leaf springs on this model. You can get leaf spring model, but it's in lower spec. When that first came out, the coil spring suspension was criticised sort of pretty broadly, and Nissan have gone back and revised it. And what we've got now is a much better balance between front and rear, which was quite off before. The car rides quite firmly, but it feels tight. And as I said, the balance between front and rear is very good now, whereas before it was out. What hasn't changed is the powertrain. We've got a 2.3 litre 4-cylinder diesel bi-turbo. So you've got a little turbo that kicks it off and a big turbo that carries on after that. So it's sort of sequentially arranged. End result is pretty good performance. I mean, good power and torque numbers on paper and pretty solid performance. What they've also fixed up in this revamp is the steering. Before, the steering was very heavy and quite lifeless. You sort of didn't know what the front end was doing. So Nissan have done a good job with both the rear suspension and with the steering to make it a much more enjoyable car to drive. As ever, the cabin's one of the smallest in the class, but it's not nearly as big as a Ranger or a BT50 or an Amarok. It's more sort of Hilux size, but still it works all right, comfortable to drive. I think, you know, Nissan really, they missed the mark a bit first time, but they've come back on and done a good job. What we don't know yet, and we will test hopefully soon, is see how this thing performs when it's up near maximum payload and when it's towing maximum tow weight, which is it's rated to tow 3,500. and the payloads are up around 900 kg, so we've got to do that yet, but we'll see how it goes. But so far so good on Series 2 Navara. Okay, we've been driving these things all day, on road, off road, all over the place. Look, they're very different cars. On road, this thing rides more firmly, feels quite sporty, the engine's got more performance, it's more refined. In comparison, that is noisier engine, it's not as refined, but it does ride more smoothly. In some ways it's a more relaxed touring car than this. Off-road, there's not really a lot between them, and to tell the truth, neither one is at the pointy end of the off-road spectrum. If you want an off-road, you're buying yourself a Hilux, a Ranger or an Amarok. All the others are somewhere down the scale. This needs a bit more ground clearance because it will drag itself a bit. That's a bit better in that area. This has got an optional, sorry, a standard rear diff lock, which helps. In terms of cabin space, this is quite small. That's quite a big cabin. That's got reliability on its side. It's been around for a while. This is a fairly new powertrain. Tossing up between the two, it's really 6 of one, half dozen the other. Find out more, you better buy the magazine.